If you haven't watched any of our previous videos, head over to the Autofunk YouTube channel by clicking on the link below and see what else we've got. We're currently restoring a 1991 ZR1 barn find, which was featured on the Late Break show. We've got several Corvettes that are all in various states of disrepair, and we also get involved in various adventures like the episode that you're about to watch now. So yeah, hit that subscribe button and we hope to see you join us in our community chat. One thing that we do like to do on our channel is reply to every single message and every single comment. So leave a comment and let us know what you think. Anyway, enjoy the video. Question: what do you buy if you've got champagne taste and lemonade money and you're not very risk averse? Well, I'm going to unveil that right now to you, but first of all I want you to pause the video and tell me what you think is under this cover. Did you guess right? Well, let's go and have a look. Well, we've bought a piece of Italian luxury, little bit of faded glamour, Maserati Granturismo 4.7S, 440 horsepower, Ferrari engined, slightly dated, but I think pretty cool Italian sports car. Very different to the Corvettes that you usually see on this channel, but we like everything here. Nothing's off the table, and we like to surprise you guys occasionally. So here it is. I've got to be a bit careful not to get any grit onto this lovely bodywork, because it's actually immaculate for basically a 15-year-old car. It's a 2009. But as usual, as with anything that we buy, there is a catch. And that catch means that it was very cheap to buy and it's lost a lot of its value, and some of it's never going to come back. Before we go into too much detail about the reason why this car was cheap, let me just give you a brief tour of the Maserati Granturismo 4.7S. Step inside and drink in that lovely Poltrona Frau Crema interior. These are a beautiful car, and I'm very, very happy to say that it's mine. So I'm going to pop the bonnet now and show you the engine, and I want you to let me know in the comments if you think I'm mad for buying this, because I reckon that these represent amazing value at the moment, and there's not much else for this sort of money that offer the same level of performance and luxury. So what you can see there is a 4.7 440 horsepower naturally aspirated Italian V8, developed in conjunction with Ferrari. It's basically the same engine as what's in a Ferrari F430, but with a different crank. The F430 has a flat plane crank and this one has a cross plane crank, and there's probably some other differences. I think the Ferrari makes a bit more power, but essentially you get all of the sounds and 90% of the go in a lovely hand-built gentleman's express. These were designed for crossing continents in comfort and covering ridiculous amounts of miles. And these are a genuine 2+2 as well, so you can actually get 4 fully grown adults in this car. I'm not the tallest guy, but I've got absolutely bags of room back here. So I could easily go on a long road trip in comfort and be sat in the back. Loads of leg room, loads of headroom. Some might say the interior is slightly dated. I personally love it. I think it's really classy. I think it's aged quite well. It's got a screen that's probably best ignored, but ignoring that, it's It's very, very ergonomic, very comfortable. Extremely refined, so completely different to the Corvettes. Obviously it's still a V8, but a very different kind of V8. Quite unique, I think it's fair to say, especially at this price point. But yeah, it's just a lovely car. I mean, look at the design of it. The only thing I think that lets it down are the rear lights, but other than that, it's absolutely fabulous from every angle. Anyway, enough of that. Let's have a listen to that Ferrari V8 raw to life. Oh, it's so sweet. It's much more refined than the Corvette, so when you're in the car it does sound a lot more muted than the LS1 that's in the C5s, etc. But if you crank the window down a little bit, really delivers. And it's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde type car, this, because if you don't want to drive it like an idiot, you can float around and it's very, very wafty. The engine's silky smooth and runs perfect. No problems at all. I know some of these have a problem with the variator, which can be quite an expensive fix. I think it's about 3,000 quid. But this one doesn't have any of those issues. And actually, mechanically, it's perfect. P0 tyres all round, recent brakes, etc. So you're probably wondering, why was it cheap and what's wrong with it? Well, you know what? It's a 59,000 mile car. It's had 3 owners in the last 15 years. The guy that I bought it off had it for 10 years. It's low mileage, perfect interior, perfect mechanically. Well, I say perfect interior, there is one slight issue with it, and that's that the headlining is slightly sagging, which is actually something that's easy to address. But no, the real reason why it's cheap is because it's a Cat S write-off. Now what that means in the UK is that it's accident damaged and it's an uneconomical insurance repair. What a lot of people misunderstand about categorised cars is that it doesn't necessarily mean that they've got bad damage. It just means the cost of repair outweighs the value of the car, basically. So the insurance company decide, no, don't want to get involved, we'll write you a cheque instead, sir, and you get to keep the car. Here it is. This is the reason why this car was written off. It had a very, very low speed collision with a van that drove into the back of the previous owner on a roundabout, and that is the extent of the damage. Unbelievable, isn't it? I can't quite show you yet, but I'm going to show you later in the video because I don't want to get all of this stuff out and get grit on it. Basically, underneath the boot floor there's a little bit of a dent where the impact sort of shunted a bit of very, very thin metal inside the boot. Nothing structural, and that just needs to be slightly pulled back, and then I need to get the bumper painted, and that is literally it. When a car's been written off in the UK as a Cat N or a Cat S, I think actually it only applies to Cat S vehicles. The current MOT, which is our road safety check, our annual safety check, becomes void. The car needs a new MOT. So the first thing that I've got to do is take this car to the MOT station, and hopefully the MOT tester will give it a clean bill of health, because I don't think there's any problems with this, and I certainly don't think that damage on the back is going to cause any issues with the MOT. You'll join me for a short drive on the way down to the test station, and I'll give you a bit of an overview of how this thing drives and what it's like to be in and use. And we'll go to the test station, get it MOT tested, and then we're going to look at, later in the video, getting this damage repaired. So this is the story of my Maserati Granturismo. Stay with me, guys, and if you're enjoying our content, drop us a like, press the subscribe button. It massively helps the algorithm. We've got a lot more to show you than just the Corvettes, so there's loads of exciting stuff happening, and if you stick around on the channel, you'll hopefully see some cool videos. Anyway, let's get to that MOT station. Needless to say, had to stop for a bit of fuel there. 30 quid's worth of E5 or Super, whatever you want to call it. Ooh, there's a gap. So driving the the Maserati Granturismo. Spoiler alert, it's absolutely amazing. Well, to be fair, you'd probably expect that, wouldn't you? But no, I had low expectations of how this thing would drive. You can see the saggy headline in there, which we are going to address in this video. I'm waiting for some swatches for the headlining material, because I'm going to replace it with another type of Alcantara, which will look factory, but hopefully be a little bit nicer quality. Anyway, I had low expectations of how this thing would drive. I thought that it'd be a bit rattly, not very well screwed together. It's essentially comes from an era when Maserati was owned by Fiat. You know, over the years, Maserati have never been known for particularly amazing build quality. Build amazing cars with really cool, interesting engines and engineering and so on, but yeah, not great on the build quality department. But this car is absolutely rock solid, planted on the road. It basically feels like it's hewn from granite. In fact, it reminds me a little bit of a 928. I'm going to be a little bit critical. I'd expect higher quality leather from the Italians, so I am a little bit fussy about leather. James, if you're watching this, you'll know what I'm talking about. I reckon that they could have used a higher quality leather on the seats, being completely honest. That said, they are very nice. It's so comfortable and relaxing. It's kind of like the best of both worlds, really, because you have an awesome Ferrari-derived V8 naturally aspirated high revving engine. The rev counter goes up to 9,000 RPM. I think, to be fair, Redline's about 7,500. But yeah, it's a high revving, naturally aspirated V8 engine, really fruity, it's got loads of character. The car itself is super relaxing and comfortable to drive. The steering wheel is bang central to the driver, the pedals are in a great position, and it feels very confidence inspiring. Like, you can get in and within a few minutes all the controls are familiar. The other thing that's really cool, there's buttons on the rear and on the front of the steering wheel, which means that you can fully control the infotainment screen once you know what the buttons do, without taking your eyes off the road, just by feel, using the buttons. So that was something that surprised me. As you'd imagine, performance is very, very good. I'd say it's not as dramatic as the C5. Engine sounds amazing, but totally different. Comparing it to the Corvettes, it doesn't have the drama. It has the sound, but you're very isolated in the cabin. And compared to the Corvettes, I would say, yeah, it doesn't quite have that sort of drama. But what it does offer is a very relaxed, comfortable bruiser cruiser type vibe. And I can't wait to do some proper distance driving in this car, because it's just bloody awesome. Anyway, we're nearly at the MOT station. I'm hoping that Rob, the MOT tester, doesn't completely pick this car to bits, because I think it's a good one. Like I said earlier in the video, it's only done less than 60,000 miles. It's had the last owner just fully serviced it at main dealer Maserati, and I think there's one service or two services that were done at a Maserati specialist, but all the rest of the services are all main dealer, HR Owen and Maranello Egham. And it's had things like new shock absorbers, new power steering rack. There's no issues with the variators. I don't know if they've been changed or not. But yeah, it seems to me that apart from that tiny, tiny shunt on the rear, which I'm going to get addressed very soon, and you'll see that in this video, it's just, it doesn't need anything. But we're going to have a look when it's on the ramp. I'm going to show you the car underneath, because I know that these are prone to subframe rot as well, so that's a slight concern. But I suspect that it's going to be pretty good, and I'm hoping that it will fly through an MOT without too much needing doing to it. I've booked this car in just off the reg, so Rob doesn't actually know that it's a Maserati. I reckon he's going to laugh when he sees me turn up in this. But anyway, the MOT station is Wright Automotive in Syston. Highly recommended. They're really good lads here, and they've really looked after me over the years. So yeah, if you need an MOT in Leicester, go and see Rob at Wright Automotive, and he'll look after you. Quick look under the Granturismo. So it's on the MOT ramp. It's been MOT'd, and I'm pleased to say that it's passed. It's all looking nice and clean under here. A little bit of surface rust around here. These cars are known for front and rear subframe corrosion. This one's actually looking really good. Previous owners wax oiled the main chassis, but I think what we might need to do is just tidy these plates up because these are not looking brilliant. Exhaust looks fantastic. Rear diff's nice and dry. Can't really see any signs of anything that looks dodgy really. It's all looking good. Quick look into the rear. No signs of any damage underneath. Nothing. The exhaust hasn't been affected by the shunt by the looks of it. So I'm very pleased with that. Next stop will be to the body shop to get that bumper off and see what's going on behind it. Hopefully it'll be an easy fix and then we'll have a nice Maserati to smoke around in. And here we are, one fresh MOT. So there's the mileage. Barely been used really over the past couple of years. But this means that we're all legal, so I can tax it now and start to use it. We're back on the drive, and this brings us almost to the end of part one of the Maserati Resurrection. Not that there's that much wrong with it. If you want to see this car, go to the body shop. And if you want to see, us take this bumper off and have a look at the damage behind it, repair it all, show you the inside of the boot floor, etc. Repaint and refit the bumper, and correct any other damage that needs fixing while we're at it. Make sure that you stick around for part two and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any updates. We wanted to do this video as a long form, just like we did with the Corvette convertible, which if you haven't seen yet, make sure that you give that a watch. It is 2 hours, but there's loads of stuff going on in there. And I thought that was a really good video. But what I also want to do is keep producing regular content. So by cutting it up into sections, it's going to enable me to keep giving you videos every week, rather than you having to wait a long time, which I know that you've done previously. Two things before we come to the end of part one. The first one is I mentioned earlier about the Alcantara headlining, and my swatch kit has arrived. So this came from AS Trim, and they have a bunch of different colours of Alcantara. It's basically not actually genuine Alcantara, it's something called Milano suede. So Alcantara is quite tricky to install, it's not very stretchy, but this stuff, it's foam backed. So if you're thinking about doing your own project where you're going to do some retrimming, I'd recommend this. It's foam backed, but it's also got a 4-way stretch. That means there's loads of give in it, so if you're doing complex curves on the headlining and stuff like that, it should be quite easy to do a DIY job on. And yeah, with the foam backing, it will give you a bit of extra cushioning and just a little bit more play, a little bit more wiggle room really, I guess you'd say. But there's a downside I've discovered with this. I'm just going to shut the door, and that's that they've sent me basically every single colour that they do. So you got black, dark grey, light grey, blue, etc. And unfortunately, there isn't a perfect colour that's going to match the interior perfectly. So the closest match is probably this one, which looks like this. And I'll try and zoom in so that you can see this. And that's a pretty close match, but the problem with that is because we're not going to recover the sun visors, when you hold it against the sun visor, it actually clashes quite badly and doesn't look very nice. Another option that you could do is dark grey, but again, actually, you know what? I think dark grey isn't too bad, and dark grey isn't quite as stark as black. I also considered blue because it's got blue carpets, but again, blue, not a good fit for this car, I don't think. So I'm torn between the dark grey and the black, and I'm going to reveal in a later video what we're going to go for. But you let us know in the comments which colour you'd go for. Well, I think it probably comes down to dark grey or black, but you let us know which colour you'd go for, and I'd be interested to hear your feedback on that. The other thing that I'm going to do, which we've not yet done, is the good people at Top Don. I'm not paid to say this, but they sent me, full disclosure, they sent me this to try. They've sent me an amazing diagnostic tool, which I'm going to use to see what's going on with the engine and look for any fault codes. Now, it comes in a really nice box. If you need a diagnostic tool, this is a very, very cool device. It can basically do almost dealer level. There's only a few things that it can't do that you need a dealer level service tool for any vehicle, so I'm using it on the Maserati today. Regardless of who the manufacturer of your car is, you'll be able to use this, and it's a really slick wireless device. Basically, this plugs into your onboard diagnostic connector, which I'm going to show in a minute. Completely wireless. Connect that to the car, push the on button there, you select your vehicle, etc., or it'll automatically find the vehicle. It's very, very self-explanatory and easy to use. You can do all of the basic checks, so you can find fault codes, and you can look at the fault code number and hopefully pinpoint some issues. It supports ABS, it supports airbags, it supports some dealer level calibration. So for things like on the Land Rover Discovery, air suspension settings and stuff like that can be done here. But I'm going to plug it in now and show it to you. It's called the AD800BT by Top Don. Now, the first time that I used a Top Don product was on Kev, the Burgundy Project Corvette C5, which some of you will have already seen. And I used their jump pack, and I actually said to them, can you send me a jump pack, because I think your jump pack's amazing. It belongs to a friend of mine, and I borrowed it for a while, and I'll actually be buying one of those. But yeah, this thing, if you need a diagnostic tool, absolutely amazing. I'm going to leave a link in the description below for a discount code that you can use to purchase one of these and get a bit of money off. But let's plug it in and see how we get on. And it's nice that everything comes in the box. So the charger and just that cable, it's really nice quality. Right, let's get it plugged in. By the way, no sticky buttons in this car. That goes to show how well it's been looked after. Anyway, I digress. You can see the unit's connected in there now. So I'm connecting the Bluetooth module. It's going to find the module. And then here are my choices. So I can go diagnostics, OBD, maintenance and service, repair info. So if you connect it to the web, you can get some repair guides on here. It's now going to find my VCI. So you can see the VCI is flashing there. It's found the VIN number of the car. It's found the DTCs, which is the fault codes. And amazingly, looks like there's no fault codes. DTCs in this ECU, none. So I can click on there, press enter, and then I can read fault codes. I can read the live data. So let's have a look at accelerator pedal position, just as an example. Let's look at ambient air temperature. You can select a few of these. Catalyst temperature, bank 2 sensor 1, so this is one of the O2 sensors. Press OK. I wish I could do all of this on my on my ZR1. So there we go. So I've got 3 live data streams. If I press on the throttle now, you can see the pedal percentage changing there. So using this device, you can actually monitor all sorts of different stuff. If I run the car, you can see the cat's heating up. So if you think, for example, if you think you've got a fault with your catalytic converter, you'd be able to monitor both of them at the same time, which I could do now, actually. And then what we can see here is both of the lambda sensors, both of the O2 sensors, they're within a similar range of temperatures. So that indicates that they're okay. And basically this is something that you can use to just take guesswork out of fault finding. So many people just basically guess what's wrong with the car and then waste money on parts and fit them, and then it doesn't fix the issue. But with this, you can drill down and use the live data. It's absolutely, it's a complete, I know it's a cliche, but it's a game changer when you realise that you can use live data to understand what's going on with all of the electronics. And it's not just the engine sensors, it's things like brake pedal pressure, throttle pressure. You can literally do all sorts of really clever stuff, and this works for me. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, Top Don are not paying me to say this, they just gave me it to review, and I think it's amazing. Thank you, Top Don, so much for sending us this, and you'll see this in lots more future videos, I'm sure. Anyway, that is the end of part 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Stick around for part 2, and we're going to go to the body shop and fix that rear bumper. As always guys, like and subscribe, leave a comment, and thank you so much for watching.